Well, hey. Happy Sunday. It's this is a book contest, isn't it? Who's gonna put up the book first? Okay, I'm to you now. It's nice to be here.
And I'm Dr. Michael Gross, hiding behind her book.
Okay, we have a beautiful, my goodness, look at the lights. Here we go. Okay, we have a beautiful topic today. It's actually part 3 of
Your life path.
your path in life. We were trying to remember exactly how that went. But anyway, we're really happy that you're popping in to join us on this segment of a very, very powerful topic. And I would like to go ahead and let everyone know that Dr. Michael Gross, the guy over here, is the reason why he's holding the book that he's holding, because he helped me with his book and his wisdom, and I did write that book. But I want to encourage everybody to take a couple minutes. Definitely, we'll put all the contact information down below in the comments. But for now, I want to go ahead and just encourage everybody to get a copy of Dr. Michael Gross's book, because it's definitely one that will wake up your mind and your soul and all those other little golden nuggets that you share. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and put the book down and go ahead and also let Michael have a moment to speak, because I just took the first couple minutes.
No problem. This is a great book. Anything else you want me to say? We're having some fun.
You caught me.
I got her. This is a wonderful book. It's a story of a woman who actually found her way out of the gutter into the light, and who empowered herself. And you know, her epitaph is going to be powerful, because every woman who has ever been abused, every child, every man, everyone, whomever they are, they're going to read this book. It's going to empower them, and they realize they're going to find the inner strength to walk out of the gutter into the darkness, into the light. And this is what it's all about: healing the holes in your soul. A must read. It's empowering, it's motivational, and it will change your life. Everyone, I recommend you reading this book.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
Thank you for writing this one. I'm incredibly honored to have a copy of it and to have you as one of my nearest, dearest friends. And he also wrote the foreword in my book. And I share some of the golden nuggets of wisdom that he's given me also in my book. So on that note, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to properly introduce you. And you know what? We've got cushions going on here. Did you notice?
But I want everyone to know that Tia is my twin sister in a past life. And you know the story, you've heard it before. She kicked me out of the womb first to test the waters. But she did have a vision, true story, of her mother from that past lifetime. She said she was beautiful. And you know my answer. I look just like her.
He does. Okay, he does. Other than the fact that he's a guy and she's not. I mean, he really, really does. And yes, I kicked him out of the womb first because I really wanted a big brother. And I'm so glad.
Don't believe that. She wanted me to test the waters.
Okay, enough of that sibling stuff. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm really getting comfy today, aren't I?
Oh, yes, you are.
Something happened. I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and formally introduce you to Dr. Michael Gross, because he is really very humble, and he's never going to be Mr. Braggadocious, okay?
Thank you.
You bet. If I don't brag about him, he's not going to say a word. He was so, he is just a very, very charming man, young man, massive energy that drives me crazy. Sometimes that's hard to keep up with you. And what I want to share with you before I give the formal introduction is that nothing here is scripted other than this one little piece of paper, okay?
And this is not bloviated. That's a beautiful word that we learned recently.
Yeah, we did. And look, we even blew out the screen there.
Why don't you explain to him what bloviated means?
He caught me off guard. I would have to say the first word that comes to my mind to describe bloviated is pompous.
Well, I guess it could be considered pompous.
I don't know. Now I'm going to have to look it up, Michael. You talk to them. Tell them what bloviating means.
It's really being bragging, talking a lot, showing off, things like that. And we just we're working with someone a while back, and they use the word bloviated.
Okay, here it is in the dictionary. It says, talk at length, especially in an inflated or empty way. So I think that bloviating means you're really tooting your own horn a little bit too
Braggadocious, as you said.
You're tooting the horn just a little too much. And we like the way that word just rolls off our tongue.
Yes, and so we thought we'd educate you with a new word. Now you can use, boy, you're really bloviated. And they won't know what you're talking about.
Well,
Cool.
You know what's funny?
What?
We could actually incorporate a new word every Sunday.
Let's do that. Let's do it.
Well, we'll have to see what we can do about that, okay? All right, on that note, now that we've blown away a few more minutes.
That's okay.
I am really, really glad that you guys, young men and women and everyone in between, men, women, children, whoever's listening, takes a minute on this, takes a few minutes on this Sunday. And every Sunday that we do this at 2:00 Pacific Standard Time to pop in and listen to the message that Michael has for us. And if you don't catch the actual live, it's okay because it's recorded and it's going to stay up on Facebook and StreamYard. It's not going anywhere because we don't take that stuff down. I don't delete my emails either, so I'm sure not cleaning house on this one. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Dr. Michael Gross is an author, professional keynote speaker, a transformational coach, and an entrepreneur. For more than 3 decades, he's been on a spiritual path. A spiritual path as an intuitive, a healer, a spiritual counselor, and a teacher. An amazing teacher. Trust me, and a phenomenal teacher. Through the guidance of spirit, Michael has assisted others in their personal quest for self-empowerment, helping them to create the lives that they have long sought and to bring forth their intuitive abilities. Michael currently teaches classes in spirituality, self-empowerment, Reiki, and other modalities. I'm not hiding this. I'm going to read it. Why would I hide it, right?
You should see her when she has some champagne. This is normal.
I've had water today. I haven't even had coffee. Something has happened. I mean, this guy is amazing because he's got my funny side rolling out today. I don't know. I'm even wearing my 5K shirt. It's cool. Okay. Anyway, I got off screen. I'm rolling his eyes.
All right.
Okay. In concert with God the True Source, he's also achieved great success and miraculous healings. He remains humble, knowing the work he does all comes from God the True Source. Michael lives in Lakewood, Washington. I'm going to give him the floor so he can talk about his new nonprofit, and I'm going to put this to sleep for a little while.
About 30 seconds. Anyway, she has a lot to share. And Spirit was telling me to form a nonprofit. So it's the International Institute of Self-Empowerment. We call it TISE, T-I-I-S-E. Those are the initials. And I said we do have our logo up, and then we will have later on our website up. It's almost complete. And I know I've said this before, but things go at a snail's pace. But anything worthwhile is worth waiting for. And we are dedicated to helping abused women, children, and men. And how that came about was when I was coaching Tiu, and she talked about, her mom and dad, and was going to write a book about her mom and dad. And I encouraged her to write a book and healing the holes in your soul about all the trials and tribulations she went through. Pretty amazing. And I call her the phoenix, the mythological bird that rose from the ashes. And that's truly about her. She went from non persona gratis all the way to now a beautiful soul who's fulfilling her mission and goal to help abused women and children. And after meeting her and working with her, I elected that the International Institute of Self-Empowerment, the first part of our life, so to speak, as a nonprofit is going to be dedicated to helping abused women and children and men. And we are busy doing fundraising. And you've heard me say this before, but I'll say it again. If you're looking for some tax deductions, you'll see the information below. We'll send you a letter. We're all official. With that being said, I would like to continue to talk about one more thing. And that is this beautiful woman on this side of me I made her the director of healing abuse. And that's a really powerful statement for her. You know, we talked about many things. I'm going to boast about her. She won't boast about herself. And we talked about, you know, does she need a PhD in psychology or psychiatry or an master's or whatever? And I told her, look, I know she has a baccalaureate's, but not in that field. But what makes her so good at helping women is she lived it, she experienced it, she survived it, she rose from the ashes, and now she's an example for all of us to follow who has ever been abused. And I encourage her to do that because she doesn't get her information out of a book. She gets her information from all the trials and tribulations and everything she went through. So I honor you and thank you. And thank you for being part of the Institute. Your life path.
I'm not supposed to say anything, remember?
Oh, yes, she's not supposed to say a word. Told you it would only last 30 seconds.
Okay, I made it quiet. I stayed quiet long enough. Man, I am so flattered and thank you so much for what you said. And I'm like, trying not to talk. He's such a, oh my gosh, truly, truly an amazing, incredible human being you are for everything you've taught me. And had it not been for you, you know, I know that I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So I'm eternally grateful.
Thank you.
And now
we'll talk about your life path.
Let's talk about the life path.
Part 3. So we went up to the age of about 20, 21, 22. Now we're going to go up to the age of 40. That's a big expanse, almost 20 years. And during those years, you experimented, whether you realized it or not. You took on different positions at work, you tried different things, and perhaps you got married, you started a family. All these things began to change. And then you became more grounded in terms of, well, now that you're married or you have someone you're living with or someone significant, you probably bought a house or maybe you're renting one or have dreams of shortly buying a house. And for many of you, although not all of you, you decided to start a family. And that's very powerful in starting a family. And everything began to change. And I remember, you know, I'd share this with you that when my wife was pregnant, and we didn't know whether we were going to have a boy or girl, but that's before they did all the kind of work they did. I really didn't give a gosh darn as long as the baby was healthy. And thought I'd share this with you. So here I am in my late 20s. She's pregnant. And we kept going to the doctor. And well, she's not ready. We're not ready. Now she was ready, a week or two late. He said, well, take her over bumpy roads. Okay, I guess that's what they said. We took over bumpy roads. They
told me that too. They told my husband that too.
Guess what? That didn't work. And then do this, do that. I don't remember all the things. And finally, they said they were going to induce labor. So I took her to the hospital. That time it was a Catholic hospital. And they had nuns, and they would not allow the husband in during the time of birth. So they said, go home, and it'd be a long time before she gave birth. I said, okay. And I went to sleep, didn't sleep very well. And somewhere around 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning, roughly, I had a dream. The hospital called and said, Dr. Gross, your wife's giving birth. I said, I'll be right there. No. You want to know if it's a boy or a girl? Oh, okay. I said, that's great. What is it, a boy? Okay, thank you. I'll be right down. And then I woke up around 8:15. Nothing. 10 o'clock. Phone rang, and that whole scenario, exactly what I explained to you, took place.
Wow. And
then, of course, I called my mother-in-law and so on. Called my parents, but they were living in California, and I was out on the East Coast. Well, it was beautiful because I was living in the Boston area. Was I began to realize, oh my gosh, new responsibility. I can't change jobs. I've got to take care of my wife and my son. This is incredible. What am I going to do? And I felt a little bit of fear of the weight of the responsibility. I had a little bit to do with her getting pregnant, just a little bit. I never thought of what would occur. And then when I did that, I went, wow, I've got to do something phenomenal. And that spurred me to become more successful. And at the same time, it spurred me to realize all the responsibility that a male has. That doesn't say the female doesn't have less responsibility, just a little bit different, but each is equally important. And that was a wake up call for me. In the interim, the joy of having a child, watching it grow, learning from them the humor and the wonderful things. I remember saying one time to my daughter, who was born about 2 years later, and that's another story because the doctor said, well, it took her so long to get pregnant. You better start trying now. Right. 2 years later, she's born. So she said to me one day, she loved to listen to music. And she said, well, where's the orchestra and the radio? I said, no, there's no orchestra. What it is that it's a CD or a record player at that time, or a tape. And she looked at me and didn't understand that. But she actually thought there was a whole bunch of band members. And it's beautiful to see their humor and understanding them. And everything is brand new and bushy-eyed and exciting. And you can live through your children that excitement. And then as time goes by, they get older and older. And eventually they're going to leave the nest. They're through with high school and go on to college. And then you're empty nesters, as they say. But all these times, what we have to understand is your epitaph for your children, yours as well as your wife's or husband, whoever this applies to, or significant other, you are the role model. You are planting seeds. They're observing you by your behavior. And if you're joyous and happy every morning, they will be. And if you're grouchy and so on, they're going to end up being that way. In other words, you are imprinting upon their thoughts your behavior. That is very, very powerful for us to look at. But your behavior doesn't stop there. You want to say something? Let me finish the thought. It begins to continue throughout their lives. Now I'll stop. Go ahead.
Well, you just reminded me of something.
Sure.
We seldom realize it, and I know I didn't, but our children are learning by what we do. They're watching us. Okay, it's like if you're looking in the mirror and you're getting yourself ready or something, I remember as a kid, I was always watching my mom primping up for a date night or something with my dad, and I would watch that, and I caught myself years later doing what my mother did. And it was okay. It was cool. But what I'm saying is your children are watching and learning. And it's not by the words that you speak all the time. It's your actions. And I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, you're absolutely right. That old cliche, not by your actions, not by your words, I should say, but by your actions shall you be known. And realizing that you're the role model, not only for your children, but also for your family and extended family. They are observing you. And if they see something that really is successful, they're going to emulate you. And if it isn't, they're going to run from you or ignore you or be polite, whatever it may be. So the most important thing is in these years from 20 to 40, these are the years that you're a great influencer. You're an influencer on your children, but also on family members that are really close. And I know there are many things that we learn from our parents. On the other hand, there are many things we're relearning. And there are many things we are throwing out, figuratively speaking, because they no longer fit in our lives. Some of those things that we are throwing out or removing is anything that creates a limitation, anything that creates a fear, anything that creates a doubt. So I would like you to spend a moment and think about that. Wow. What am I changing and throwing out in my life? And this is so important. What you are doing is giving up your independence. What you are doing is giving up your right to free thought. What you are doing is allowing yourself to be manipulated by others. What you are doing is you're giving up free will and free choice. Now, in part, people will say a lot of things to you and say many things. And some of them bear true. Some of them are experiences. Most of them are opinions. It's kind of like watching the news. They say it's the news. Really isn't. All they're giving is their opinions. And that's okay, whatever the opinions are. But they just say it's the news, not their opinions. Because opinions are always slanted. If I recommend a restaurant, it's because I had a good time at the restaurant. So obviously my opinion slanted because I liked it. It was enjoyable. And I wanted to share it. The next person may, yuck, it's terrible. But I have to honor their decision. In this part of our life, we decide to become people pleasers. And we want to please our children, we want to please those we work with, and so on and so forth. But there's a struggle going on because not only do we want to be people pleasers, but we want to be strong and independent. We want to fulfill our missions and goals. We want to look after our children. We want to be free from anxiety and hate and insecurities. Yet what happens is many times we go about and recreate what we fear the most. And I want to tell you, that's very important because that's the way you learn. Therefore, we go back to a law. And the law says it's universal, it's irreversible. Whatever you fear the most, you will attract in your life. Well, you would say, why would I want to do that? That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, it isn't. Not crazy. It empowers you because you realize it is a no thing. You know the word nothing? An no thing. It's a no thing in your life. It's not important because you learn something. And that's what's important. As long as you learn something, then it's very, very successful. But if you run and hide, it's going to bite you in the tush one day. So during this formula of years, you are running around, learning a lot, changing your mind, looking at your value system, and influencing your family. You wanted to say something.
I wanted to ask you something.
Go ahead.
Can you give us an example of something that one would fear the most and run and hide, as
Sure.
opposed to, moving forward through it?
Well, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. Anything we want to run and hide from, and I'll get around to an example, is something we feel insecure about or afraid of. Therefore, if you don't feel insecure or afraid of, then it's not going to bother you, and it would be just fine. So an example of that is, let's say you have a fear of being abused. So in walks a big burly man, let's say you're a female, big burly man, and he comes over you and he tells you what to do and he pushes you around a little bit. There'd be a lot of fear coming up. How can I push this man away? He's huge. Or perhaps you were told that you could never be a successful doctor in your life. And you want to become a doctor, but now you have a fear because you somewhere, maybe a mom and dad, maybe somebody said something, you'll never be a successful doctor or a doctor. And so this lives within your subconscious mind. Remember, 94% of the thinking comes from the subconscious mind. Therefore, all this is going on and playing out. And the truth of the matter is, you will stub your toes, you will create chaos, and you will flunk out being a doctor. There was something I read many years ago, and there was a student who was a troublemaker, and he had problems in school. And one of the teachers came up, said, we're going to do an IQ test. Well, his IQ got mixed up with someone else's identity, and it came out at the genius level. And then, oh, wow, now we would know why he's so cantankerous. So they told his parents that. And he said, wow, and they told him, now we know why you're so cantankerous, because you're bored, you're brilliant. They put him in accelerated courses, and they kept saying, you're a genius, you're brilliant. You know what? He passed with flying colors. He actually became a doctor, a very, very successful doctor. And then many years later, at the age of 45, somewhere around there, they were looking at all the test scores because during his time there were some problems in recording the test scores. And they found out his IQ was just normal, not that of a genius. True story. So the question is,
He believed he was a genius, though.
right. So whatever you think you create, whatever you create, you experience. In other words, as he said, he believed he was a genius, so he excelled. And because he excelled, he did well and became a well-known doctor. Isn't that interesting? So here we are from 20 to 40. removing some of our faulty belief systems, adding new belief systems. Now, not all faulty belief systems are good. Not all are bad. All new belief systems are good or not bad. Depends upon each person. The most important thing for you to realize is, my cliche, my motto, you are unlimited. Therefore, I'm talking about all of you. If you were to live unlimited between the ages 20 to 40, where would you be now if you're over the age of 40? Or you're younger, what would you be enjoying right now? And where would be your thoughts? Kind of an interesting thing to think about.
What would your life be like?
Go ahead, watch so they can hear you.
I said, you're going to just imagine what your life could be like. That's unlimited, just like what you say.
Exactly.
Wow.
The problem that we have in challenges from 20 to 40 is we're reflecting on the ages from 0 to 20, where we may have had challenges, failures, or things that didn't work out right. And it creates a limitation, not a limitation of growth, but a limitation of blocks. The fight or flight or remain frozen syndrome. And many people that I meet today are frozen in a limited beliefs. Now, look at your own life and say, well, maybe I'm not a millionaire, or I hope you are, but it makes no difference. I would like you to take a look at your life. And I posted this the other day on Facebook. And what I posted is, just look at and remembering at those things that were successful and help you become successful, including your licensing, with something like that. And right on the bottom, you discover something wonderful. Because on the bottom, you realize, look at all you overcome. Look at all that you've learned. Look at all how you are now becoming unlimited. But we don't spend enough time between ages 20 and 40. What we do is spend time dwelling upon what makes us angry, what makes us upset. We can't live with the Joneses, etc., etc., etc. We're going to be covering that more in the next edition. But what I'd like you to understand is, each morning when you get up, reflect upon your wins. That's what you need to do. Just your wins. Not anything that is negative or blocking. You don't want that. We'll clear that up later. But what's important is you have to find your own life path. And in finding your own life path, it is challenging, it is painful. But it made you who you are. Now you can reconfigure yourself. You can redesign yourself as you approach the age of 40 and go on in your formative years. How are we doing on time?
We need to wrap it up, Michael.
All right. So I wanted to share all that with you, and we're going to have another part next week. But what I'd like you to understand is that if your thinking is flawed, and all of us have flawed thinking, begin to look at the flawed thinking and say, you know what? I learned something new with every experience that is priceless. So I'd like to tell you the one little story about being priceless. We all love potato chips, or most of us do. And I lived in upstate New York, Albany, New York. And about 35 miles away was the Saratoga Raceway, which is an old raceway, one of the premier raceways. Beautiful white fences. It was built in the 1800s. Some of the structures there are just gorgeous. And they had a chef, and the chef was a Native American. And somewhere in the 1800s, or maybe early 19, I'm not sure, he had a guest, and he wanted French fries. So he made them for French fries. He wanted them crisper. And he sent them back. So he made them smaller and crispier. And this went on 4 or 5 times. Finally, the chef, getting so ticked off, he sliced the potatoes paper thin, threw them in the fryer, put some salt on. He said, well, maybe that'll suit him, and put it on his dish. And the gentleman ate it. It's the best thing he'd ever eaten. That's the story of potato chips. It's a true story. You can look it up. But more importantly is that chef decided, even though he was angry, he would not give up. And he didn't give up because he wanted to please his client, or I should say the restaurant patron. But what happened is, because he did that, he invented a new food. So here you are in the 20 to 40 years old. You're discovering new things all the time. Get rid of your preconceived notions. Be open to experience anything because you never know what happens. So now we're coming back to completing this beautiful session. We'd like to share a few things with you. So, Tiu, why don't you take over?
I would love to.
Thank you.
I'm blown away by what you said, and I can relate to so much of what you said. Just going down memory lane with everything. We don't need to stay in our limited beliefs. We really don't, because they don't know. Sometimes it's okay, but sometimes if the belief system doesn't serve a purpose for us, it's time to let it go and move on.
Yes.
And what was good for mom and dad, however many years ago that was, might not be applicable to where we are in our society and in our life today. We need to remember that, we're always changing. Life is changing, right?
You're absolutely right. Words of wisdom. Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Okay, Tuesday night, Michael does a call-in where you can dial in. It's at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you call in and you have questions. You ask your questions. And he has phenomenal answers that will blow the socks right off your feet. He has, I could say that. I encourage you to call in and also invite others to call in and listen to, just be a fly on the wall and listen. It's always well worth it. The call-in number is 202-926-1059. And
the access code is 125446 pound.
Okay, I'm going to give that number again, and I'll make sure it's all in the contacts as well. Okay, do you want to say anything about your calling?
No, I was just looking to see if you blew your socks off when I was bending over, but you didn't, everybody. So go ahead.
Well, I haven't listened to your call-in for Tuesday yet. It's only Sunday.
You're right.
I mean, come on. Okay, back to the calling. It's 202. We are so off track today. 202-926-1059, and
the access code is 125446 pound. I love doing that.
Practice this, I tell you.
Yes,
what.
I do.
Okay. Would you like to go ahead with what happens in the last part of the call?
Absolutely. I deliver a 10-minute message, sometimes 12. It's a very important motivational method. I'm having trouble getting the words out.
And we're only having double waters here right now.
And these motivational messages are very, very powerful for you because it gives you a way to look at your life, and you can measure your life and change your life. And they're 217. They start with number 3 and go up to 217. So technically there's 214. But I numbered it from 3 to 217. When you're bored, you're angry, you're stuck in traffic, or you're looking for some diversion, something motivational, listen to it, because I assure you, it will change your life. Thank you for allowing me to do that. And the way to do that is to dial this number. It's a different number.
Okay, it's 434-300-4170. And the access code
125446 pound.
I don't know why I've got the giggles. My goodness. All right, one more time. That recording number is 434-300-4170, and the access
code is 125446 pound.
And I highly recommend you start with number 92.
Thank you. I love that one.
I do too. And then follow that with number 19.
All right.
That'll
work.
Trust me. All right. One more thing. You want to talk about what happens every second Saturday?
Yes.
Okay.
Every second Saturday of the month, I do what is called a mass consciousness healing. It's healing Mother Earth, all the inhabitants on it, the animal, mineral, and vegetable kingdom, all of us which we're part of. Remember, Mother Earth sustains us with food and water, clothing, and all the things that we do and what we need in life. So it's so important for all of us because my desire, my mission and goal, one of them is to get 1% of the population to feel unconditional love, because you are the solution. Remember that. You can make a difference, and you are making a difference. So I would suggest all of you call in, and it goes from 9:55 a.m. until 11:01 a.m. And somewhere the first 3 to 5 minutes, I do some talking, and then there's silence, and then you will leave your body, and you will go out through the non-denominational, joyous, happy, unlimited healing, changing the mass consciousness. I say non-denominational because it's not a religious thing. It's a spiritual, loving thing from the true source. And that's what's so important. Because you know what? You're created out of love, by love, with love, and from love. And you are love. So please join us. And the telephone number is?
I don't know. You just touched my heart. It's a beautiful experience. I highly recommend that everybody comes at least once to find out what it's all about. Because there's an energy that when we all unite, it blows. Well, okay, it blows my socks off again. He's checking. I'm wearing shoes. There's no way he can see my socks. Okay, that number on Saturday, second Saturday of the month is 202. Stop. 202-926. 1059, and
the access code is 125446.
All right. Enough frivolity, man.
Oh, there's another $50 word.
Well, we're okay. Well, we just racked up a few big words today.
We
didn't
did.
we? Indubitably.
Without any recourse, I concur.
All right, we are having way
yes,
too
we
much
are
fun.
having fun.
But you know what? We love coming to you every Sunday. Right now, we're coming at 2:00, but we're entertaining the thought about maybe airing this a little bit later and doing it either at 4 or 6 or 7. So leave your comments below so we can find out what works for everyone else. Because we want to be here for everyone, and we love it when you come and join us and leave your comments. So on that note, Michael, you ready?
I'm ready.
Gosh, he did it again. All right. One more time. I highly recommend this book, The Spiritual Primer by Dr. Michael Gross.
And I want to tell everyone I'm coming out with a second edition with some more information. Hopefully it'll be by the end of March. We'll see what's happening. I understand there's a paper shortage. So whatever happens, it'll happen. But it's really exciting. And then there'll be another book written on the 12 manifestation protocols. But we'll keep you informed of that. This book, Healing the Holes in Your Soul, let me tell you, this is so powerful. You don't need super glue. You don't need Gorilla Glue. You don't need any needle and thread.
But you might need a tissue, right?
Oh, yeah. But what you need is to open your heart to the true source of unconditional love. Admire this woman who's sitting alongside of me, who went through so many trials and tribulations and came out whole again. This is a must read.
And start here. Because if you start here, you're going to know exactly why I wrote what I wrote in there.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Okay. On that note, we respect your time. We appreciate your time. We look forward to seeing you every Sunday. Yeah, on the digital format, right?
Absolutely.
But definitely Spiritual Primer. I'm putting mine down.
Healing the Holes in Your Soul. We wish you a great week, a lot of fun and joy, prosperity, perfect health, abundance, and all the unconditional love that you'll open your heart to receive. Everyone, remember what they are. What?
You know what they are. It's your motto.
Yes. She's reminding me of something. So I want to thank you so much. And I appreciate all of you. And remember, you are unlimited. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great week. And laugh like we are. Have fun.
Laughter's free.
Yes, it is.
Have a great day.
Take care.